Hello, I am Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be reviewing the New Year Rare Egg Machine that is coming to Puzzle and Dragons. So, the New Year Rare Egg Machine is not necessarily a new event. However, with this inception, we are actually going to be gaining 3 new cards to roll, as well as having 3 silver eggs removed at the same time. So we basically traded out some of the lower rarity cards for the higher rarity cards. But the biggest problem with the New Year's Rare Egg Machine is that it's relatively lackluster overall. None of the cards are exceptionally powerful or notable standouts, and that is a little problematic because we want to spend our magic stones to acquire pretty girls, but if there is middling value throughout the cards, it makes it a little harder to justify. Now, with the Rare Egg Machine renewal and the disclosed rolling rates, this will be the first time we've ever seen what are the odds of rolling this, because in Japan they did not have it if I'm not mistaken. So it will be interesting to see what the rarity of the cards are for their rolling rates. However, 7 stars are probably going to be about 2%. 8 stars, I'm guessing 1.5 if we look at the Valentine's Day in Japan. So, with all that being said, the decision not to roll rests upon yourself, whether or not you like the pretty cards. Do you feel like the active skills or their kits can actually benefit yourself? So just because some of the cards may feel lackluster to some players, they might be very beneficial to others. So as an overview, there are 4 8-star cards. And again, cards are shown in no particular order. 7 stars have 3, 2 6s, 3 5s, and 2 4s. Unfortunately, in terms of how the cards rank up, they don't rank so great. None of the cards are truly that exceptional. Yes, Kami and Yomi are powerful, but comparing to other things that we've seen in the past, they just don't really hold a candle to them, and that's truly unfortunate. As well as basically just most of the cards being kind of mediocre at best. So, 8-star base cards. So New Year's Yomi did receive a new evolutions which did improve their overall kit. They now have double 7 combo awakenings as well as a slightly stronger leader skill. So as a leader they have 144 times attack and 43.75% damage reduction when you match 5 orbs, 1 enhance, and 6+ combos. So you have to remember that the damage reduction only comes from hitting 6+ combos. So that is doable on basically every single given board unless something truly spectacularly went wrong. So that's great because you basically have an unconditional damage reduction component, which is very important because, well, we want to obviously survive. And in terms of the actual attack value, it's reasonably potent, but it's a little awkward, mostly because 5 orb 1 enhanced teams do struggle to a certain extent, mostly because they need to have those 5 key orbs as well as one of them being enhanced. So like poison jammers obviously ruin their day. And if you don't have off-color orb enhances, it makes it harder to utilize orb changers to kind of regain the lost orbs that were changed away. So it's still a reasonable leader skill, but it's nowhere near as powerful as other things currently available. But as a sub, you can definitely utilize New Year's Yomi, but they're going to feel almost like a watered-down Yuna, because Yuna and Yomi both have double 7 combo awakenings. They're both light-based. They both have lots of time extends. However, Yuna has 1 more time extend and a far superior base active skill. New Year's Yomi has a relatively lackluster active skill. It's just orb enhance and time extend. I'd rather take a shield pretty much any day of the week. So with that being said, we transition into New Year's Amaterasu. So New Year's Amaterasu did receive a very sizable buff for herself, but the problem is it's still not that great. Yes, you do have 81 times attack when full health, but you have to be exactly full health. Yes, you can auto heal. Yes, you can active skill heal, but again, this is only 81 times and it does fall apart whenever preemptives are involved or you do not sweep a floor. So you can't really use her that effectively as a leader because when you get hit, you have only 9 times damage for dual leaders, and that's just not going to fly in this day and age. But if you utilize New Year's Amaterasu as a sub, you do have reasonably strong awakenings. You have double skill bind resist. You have effectively 2 skill boosts from the super boost awakening. You have a devil killer. You have a team RCV boost. So this can have some merit if you need bind clearing and devil killing and some skill boosts and some skill bind resist. But again, it's just mediocre, and for an 8-star card this feels very underwhelming. And yes, you can purchase her for 300,000 monster points, but I strongly advise you do not, because if we do receive the poll that Japan did for a 6-star Godfest exclusive being put in the monster point shop, you want to use your monster points on something a lot stronger. Next we come to New Year's Kanna. So New Year's Kanna has basically the exact same drawbacks of the Rare Egg Machine Kanna in that TPA cards have much lower viability, as well as having a very lackluster, if not terrible, base active skill. So TPA Awakenings used to reign supreme in that they used to be the dominating force behind a lot of teams. It was a way to efficiently pump out damage from various cards. However, 7 Combo Awakenings has largely replaced them for the most part because they provide more damage boost and they're much easier to utilize. TPA teams have to obviously have 4 of their primary colors, but if they don't have 4, their damage basically plummets down. But every given board, you should be able to make 7 or more combos unless something really bad has happened. So you have much higher consistency with 7 Combo Awakenings. It's universally accessible. It helps all colors so you can run more rainbow-oriented teams. But with TPA cards, you also run the risk of losing a combo, because if you have, say, 6 of your primary color orbs and you're a TPA card, you want to match them in a set of 4. So you just lost one entire combo. And technically, each additional combo matched provides a 25% boost in healing and damage. So you're actually gimping the overall team if you go for that TPA style. So that's why TPA cards have lost a lot of their luster, is because they're just not as efficient, because it's far easier to match sets of 3, you get more combos, and everyone's happier overall. And then if we look at her active skill, it's just terrible. It's a 2 times boost for 1 turn of, or 2 turns maybe of haste. Like, it doesn't accomplish anything. Like, we can do far better at this point in time. So you have a reasonably long base cooldown. You have TPAs which don't get utilized. It's just hard to justify using New Year's Kanna. Yes, she's better than Reg Machine Kanna, but that's not saying too much. Now we come to New Year's Cammy. So the Reg Machine Cammy has been somewhat renowned for her prowess as a leader. She can lead a team that deals explosive amounts of damage, but she also has a follow-up attack, which is actually very rare for dark cards. But unfortunately, New Year's Cammy keeps the kit relatively similar, except they're trading out a regular follow attack for the super bonus attack. So a super bonus attack is something I thought of as like a super follow-up attack, but it's actually like a weaker follow-up attack, because you have to use 9, not 5 heal orbs to make a 3x3 box. And that 3x3 box will obviously give that card bonus damage, but you have to have 9 hard orbs. So that's already going to gimp your combo count, as well as being very orb hungry. Furthermore, you obviously have lost combos. So the main idea of a super bonus attack awakening is that you can utilize rows. You can put a row of, in this case here, red at the top, and then like a box, and then another row of red at the bottom. Sure, that does work out well. It gives row teams a chance to do follow-up attack damage, but row teams are not that powerful at this point in time, mostly because they're too orb hungry, they have a much lower combo count, and they don't really have a strong leader to really lead them to glory. And New Year's Cammy does look strong on paper, but in theory, you don't really need those rows to deal damage. You have 306.25 times attack. You're going to blow things up already. Rows is a bit of overkill, but if you have to utilize the follow-up attack in a box formation, it's going to really hinder your ability to really progress through content, because a column is so much easier to make for the most part. And this is a little sad, because this is supposed to be like the top prize chase card in the whole event, but it's just a weaker version of a Rare Machine 6-star Godfist exclusive. So some people may argue, yes, it has red and yellow, so you can capitalize on cards like Tsubaki and other things, but a lot of other people can use Tsubaki very well. So this is not really necessarily bringing out more merit or value for a fire-based team. Maybe it might help your boxes. You have no light cards, you don't have like a Yogg, you have no dark cards, you don't have Cammy either. But again, this is not really that strong, because you don't have a true follow-up attack. You have this box follow-up attack, and that's a lot more lackluster overall. So as I already mentioned before, the rows are a bit of overkill, and New Year's Cammy does have extra row awakenings compared to the Reg Machine version. But again, those rows are a bit overkill, and I'd rather honestly have a regular follow-up attack, because on a given board, you should statistically have 5 of each color. So you should, in theory, have at least a follow-up attack available from a given board. But 9 orbs, good luck finding 9 orbs on a given board. You're gonna have to use active skills and waste something to have a follow-up attack, which you could have achieved from most given boards. So I can see the rationale from Gung-Ho trying to make Cammy more viable for row-based teams, but it's not really gonna play out that well in practice, I feel. And now we come to the 7-star base cards. So I'm gonna guesstimate around 2% rolling rate. I could be wrong. Again, we'll find that out tomorrow. But New Year's Horus, was not meaningful whatsoever. The previous New Year's event came around, like the leader skill is just not going to do enough damage. It's rainbow and 5-1 enhanced, like it's too many components to try and juggle with no defensive multiplier. But his main saving grace will be when we gain the super awakenings that utilize a plus 297 sacrifice. So you just sacrifice a 297 every time to roll a new awakening, but in the case of Horus, you can roll a super skill boost awakening, which will bring his total up to 4 skill boosts, which can have a lot of merit and meaning for solo mode content when you're struggling to find enough skill boosts. And his base active skill is quite terrible, but at least it's a reasonably short cooldown, so you can at least inherit something over top of it while taking advantage of the 4 skill boosts. Now we come to New Year's Yamato. So the Rare Machine Yamato is mostly famous for his 3 skill boosts, but New Year's Yamato only has 2, so he's kind of lost that niche. And he does have Co-op Boost Awakening, he does have Dragon Killer, and that Co-op Boost Awakening does provide 50% more stats. Dragon Killer is 3 times damage against dragons. He only has 750 weighted stats, so it's not too spectacular. But the thing is, he's not really doing anything better than other cards currently available. He's kind of like, I'm going in the middle to try and be an even balance between the two. Because for the most part, if you want to use Dragon Killers, you tend to use Tsubaki, because Tsubaki naturally comes with 2. You can unlock a second Dragon Killer from New Year's Yamato by sacrificing 297s, but why would we sacrifice 297s for awakenings that we already have from another card already? That doesn't require those sacrifices, so that's a little problematic. And if you want to use them as a button base because of the Co-op Boost Awakening and the augmented stats, Shotel from the Weapon series just really does that better. So New Year's Yamato is not really accomplishing anything more, but it's still a reasonably strong card to have, and that's why they are ranked as a B. New Year's Kepri. So this is a new card in this event, like Cammy, and she looks interesting to a certain extent. She has a lot of utility-oriented awakening. She does provide 10% team health, but unfortunately, she doesn't do enough things to really make her stand out from the crowd to really justify using her as a sub or inherit or a leader. Because her active skill adds plus 2 combos for 1 turn along with a time extend boost. And these bonus combo count active skills do have value when you are facing mechanics that require elaborate patterns. So for instance, if you need to make a box and a follow-up attack, it helps to have bonus combo count because you've already restricted your board quite heavily. So this is where those bonus combo count actives come into play. But the thing is, we really want to have a beneficial collateral secondary effect, because if we don't, it's not really going to do enough. Because, for instance, Morigu is a 6-star Godfest exclusive that adds 3 combos for 1 turn, but no other perk or benefit. And 3 combos sounds great. You feel like, yes, I can hit big combo numbers. But the problem is, it doesn't help you fix your board. And the only time you really need to have those big combo count is when you need to overcome those weird mechanics with box and, say, follow-up attack at the same time. So providing 3 combo count with no benefit is not going to do enough. But on the other hand, if you use, say, a non-awoken Oichi or non-awoken Nene, you are going to be able to have plus 2 combo count and a tri-elemental board changer. That tri-elemental board changer provides you the board you need for the funky patterns, plus 2 combo count should suffice. So we want to obviously make sure New Year's Kepri has a beneficial second effect, but unfortunately it's just time extend. Sure, time extend can definitely override debuffs, but we have better options for that for the most part, and generally speaking, most teams have enough time extend to function, so we don't need the time extend buff. So really, we're just having a plus 2 combo count with no extra benefit, and that's a little unfortunate and lackluster overall. Now we come to the 6-star base cards, and now we have New Year's Leyland. So the Chinese Celestials, I'm talking about like the regular Rare Machine cards in the Pantheons, they were powerful upon release because they were one of the few cards that had full board changers. Unfortunately, they began to decline when sexier board changers came out. Chinese Celestials make a tri-elemental board without hard orbs. So yes, they can deal damage, but they cannot heal at the same time. But then when you have options like the Norns and like Saria, etc., you have ways to make a tri-elemental board with hearts. So you can deal damage and heal. And for the most part, that's going to be a better situation for the vast majority of teams. You want to be able to deal damage and heal at the same time. So when New Year's Leyland can't do that, and she just has the basic vanilla tri-elemental board changer with no secondary benefit, it's really hard to justify using her as a sub or even as an inherit, because her awakenings are mediocre, her base stats are lackluster, so she's not really accomplishing much. Maybe as a budget low ranking player, new account can find value in it, but for the most part, she's going to be largely ignored. Now we come to Years Amino Uzume, which is also a new card, so it's the third new card of the series, and she does have the very rare double co-op boost awakening. So these awakenings add significant base stats to herself to enable her to have much higher stats than any other card you could run. And this is most important for button style farming. And in this case here, you would be inheriting a Brachydios onto her, which will enable her to deal around like 1.6 million damage at the push of a button in co-op mode. So that can definitely execute a lot of spawns, and this makes farming through certain dungeons much faster and more efficient because you can just button, button, button. But unfortunately, you need to have 2 rare-ish collab cards to actually have this button function, as well as the fact that it only works if you're those hardcore farmers. If you're not one of those hardcore farmers, it's not going to really play much value because you probably don't even have the cards to do it anyways. But if you are fortunate enough, it's something to keep in mind that you can deal a very large and respectable amount of damage. Could have merits in ranking dungeons. Well, sorry, can't have ranking dungeons because there's no co-op boost. But I mean, it could have merits for playing through content where you're going to farm it like, say, 50, 60 times very fast. Now we come to the 5-star bases and New Year's Spica. So New Year's Spica does return back to the world of Puzzle & Dragons, where 5-orb 1 enhanced leaders are not as powerful as they used to be, just because we have better options for the most part. So New Year's Spica's main claim to fame was being utilized on a team of Yomi Dragon as a leader and 4 New Year's Spikas as subs. And then you can mash through Arena 1 extremely quick because you have this built-in haste system where you can make columns of orbs every turn and just go fast, 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 fast. That's cool and everything, but the problem is it's only really utilized in that one niche farming situation. It's really hard to utilize her elsewhere because orb enhances don't have much value in combo-based teams or row-based teams or really any other team that's not really speed farming Arena 1. So yes, it's cool. Yes, it can do amazing things, but you also need 4 of her, and not many people really do that for the most part. New Year's Matsuki is terrible. She's a D. Like, she had situational usages on Xiangmei teams, but I really can't remember the last time someone said, I'm using Xiangmei to clear endgame content. What year is it? No, it's not 2016. Like, it's just not going to happen. So the best team that she could have functioned on is like non-existent for the most part, so she doesn't function. Yes, she has a machine killer, which can be cool, but Machine Goemon also does as well, who's red and much better for the most part. So you can't even use her because of those terrible stats, terrible awakenings, terrible base skill. New Year's Hanzo now. So Hanzo may be insta-locked in Overwatch and people want to, I don't know, just snipe people out. But unfortunately, this Hanzo won't be picked as often because he just has been somewhat invalidated through power creep. Yes, he does have a Dragon Killer for a light-based card, which is kind of unique and interesting, but it's just 1 Dragon Killer on average stats. His Orb Changer is useful, at least it's a 5-turn cooldown, but we're not going to really be utilizing Hanzo so much in this time, day, and age. And now we come to 4-star base cards. So several 4-star cards have been removed and only 2 remain. So now we have New Year's Joan d'Arc. So of all the 4-stars to keep, I'm truly surprised Gung Ho decided to keep her because she is basically shit. Like, she's terrible. Like, she was probably one of the worst collab cards before, and now that we've taken out most of the silvers from most collabs for the most part, she's probably the worst by a long mile. So I don't know why they decided to keep her. She is terrible. Like, we can't basically use her in any way, shape, or form. I can't fathom a situation where I would want to use Joan de Crap on my team. It's just terrible. Horrible awakening, terrible awakenings, terrible base active, terrible stats, like, and really ugly art. Like, it's just horrible, like, just terrible. Like, I need a new ranking tier just for her because she's that bad. And now we come to New Year's Tengu. On the flip side, in terms of 4-star cards, New Year's Tengu is actually quite powerful. And in actuality, New Year's Tengu is actually basically the exact same as the farmable version, except he has a light sub-attribute. So this small and subtle change is actually quite significant because he dodges dark binds. He also helps cover a different color for all attribute dungeons, as well as helping fulfill no duplicate restrictions when you need skill boosts and you can't just use all Tengus or all Whale Doors, etc. So it does give you some diversity in terms of the subs you can bring on a team, which can be meaningful and have merit. Now, obviously you can farm yourself some Tengus, but that requires some evolution and a little bit more effort. At least New Year's Tengu, it comes ready to use out of the box. So some players like that. But again, it's really just a decent consolation prize when you didn't roll something a little flashier. But then again, the New Year's event doesn't really have that many flashy cards to begin with, so it's just kind of like, I wish New Year's Tengu was in a different machine because a machine that you'd actually want to roll, because that's actually a decent collateral consolation prize. So in conclusion, the New Year's reg machine is quite lackluster. Like, yes, they do have 3 new cards, but they're not that special for the most part. Like, in all honesty, I would really just save my stones for a much stronger collab. Yes, they have nice artwork, but we also have nice artwork from other collabs and even just regular Godfest cards. So obviously the decision of whether to roll or not rests upon yourself, but for the most part, this collab is quite weak. So let me know what you think about this event in the comments below. Do you plan on rolling, and who do you hope to roll from your limited pulls? Hopefully you all have a fantastic day. Wish you all the best of luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.